What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy.
What's the good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here, and we're getting our first reaction of any kind from a New York Jets player on the current roster. Not only that, but a key piece of turning this defense around next year and for the future sustained success of our front seven as it pertains to our New York Jets head coach search. And in this case, we're talking about defensive tackle Quinnen Williams here. When the New York Jets announced the completion of Aaron Glenn's interview, he responded with a fingers crossed emoji. And this was huge to me, right? It could be just water under the bridge for sure. But for one, again, it's the first player interaction or response of any kind that we're getting from the head coaches that we interviewed so far. And I think we're at about 6, right? Including the most recent one, the odd lock interview from the Maryland guy, right? But two pieces kind of interested me most about this. The obvious connection, Quinnen Williams is a defensive guy. Aaron Glenn is a defensive-minded head coach. But to go beyond that a little bit more, we've interviewed and have interviews we expect to be scheduling here numerous head coaches, right? You talk about Vance Joseph, for example, as a guy that not only has previous head coach experience, well respected around the league. We've looked at Brian Flores, and yet it's Quinnen Williams that is attracted to Aaron Glenn. So that speaks volumes in and of itself, especially for the people that are relying on some of those innate traits like leader of men that we're seeing being discussed and thrown out there a little bit more as we kind of hone in on what traits and what expectations we expect to see from the next head coach of the New York Jets. The second piece is Quinnen Williams is a defensive tackle. He's one of our elite front 7 defensive members for us. Aaron Glenn's specialty is in the backfield, right? Cornerbacks, safeties, DBs. And so to see that a member of the defensive line is attracted to a guy that generally is going to be far away from the action, right, as it pertains to how defense is played these days. And of course, the general roster building philosophy in that you build inside out. You start with trenches, you go outwardly, and not to say that that would change under Aaron Glenn, but still, you kind of look at a guy's bread and butter, and you can get an idea of what he has an affinity for when, looking at a roster. So I find it intriguing that a, pass rush specialist or a run stopper, whatever you want to classify Quinnen Williams as, finds Aaron Glenn to be an attractive option, especially when you have the likes of a Vance Joseph or a Brian Flores that are out there who are maybe a little bit more oriented to philosophically matching with you as a player. So I think this speaks volumes. And not only him, we discussed this last video as well. Victor Green, another New York Jets great that has stepped up and talked about how deserving Aaron Glenn is and how matter-of-factly it is that he should be the next head coach of the New York Jets. So I'm super excited about this, right? And again, I think it's worth noting for everything that I mentioned, but also when you think about the offensive side of the ball, there hasn't been a single guy that's spoken up about anything there yet either, right? So either there's not a ton of excitement or they need to, of course, again, get acclimated to a defensive guy who's not necessarily in that room. But as to what I've continued to say, Aaron Glenn is pretty involved as it comes to being a defensive specialist on the offensive side of the ball. So I can't wait to hear what some of these conversations may look like and some of these reactions from your Breece Halls, your Garrett Wilsons, your Jeremy Ruckers, who should at least stick around just based off draft status, right? Guys on the offensive line, etc. So you guys know by now, if you've been paying attention, Aaron Glenn's my guy, so I am going to be hyping him up as much as possible. But objectively speaking, this is one of those, and I can't call them rare moments anymore, but this feels like one of those situations where the stars have aligned for the New York Jets for a long time, right? The connective tissues, the storylines, the expectations, they're all pointing towards Aaron Glenn. And so I'm saving this for another video, but I think the only thing that really throws a wrench in this plan is if suddenly Mike Vrabel turns up the heat on his interest with the New York Jets, or suddenly some kind of offensive specialist falls into our lap that we weren't expecting. So let me know what you guys ultimately think. Aaron Glenn, does he seem like the destined next head coach of the New York Jets? And yeah, I'll kind of leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you again. Peace.